Hey guys, I'm doing a really quick video tutorial. Sorry you had to see that. I got a 30-day trial for this Bernina 9 embroidery software that just came out at I believe it was around the end of October, and I really started enjoying my embroidery machine after not using it for a couple of years. And I had all these Kimberbell files, and I thought, why don't I give that a try and see what I might be able to do. And I was amazed at how quick you were able to learn how to use this and how easy it was to use. And I just wanted to be able to show people that you don't have to get overwhelmed by learning how to use every single tool in this software before you can get up and running and starting to use it. You can learn some very basic editing steps and accomplish a lot with those basic steps without having to learn how to do everything before you can start doing something. So I thought what I would do is edit a basic embroidery mug rug from a Kimberbell file and show you just how easy it is. So I've got the Kimberbell mug rug volume 4 Christmas movies mug rug up on my screen, and the way to open it is just literally go to File, Open Design, and pull it up off your hard drive. And once you see it on your screen, the first thing you want to do is go to Color Film, and you'll notice that everything is grouped together. You won't be able to select anything to delete it or copy or paste until you've ungrouped everything in this Color Film. So Color Film is sort of like the layers in Photoshop, and there's a feature in Silhouette software that is also very similar, where all the different design elements in your project are grouped together in the order in which it cuts out or stitches out in this case. And so in order to ungroup everything so you can start editing, it's super simple. You right click and select ungroup, and when you click out of there, you can see now that you can start selecting individual elements of the design that you can start to copy and delete and move around and rearrange. So there's one more step we need to do before we can start editing in this file, and that is that we have to group some things together now. Now that we've ungrouped the entire design, let's just say I want to move this coffee cup to a different area on the mug rug. Unfortunately, the digitizer that prepared this file did not keep everything grouped together, so I can move this cup around. You can see I grabbed something, but it wasn't the entire cocoa cup. So I have to group all the elements that were developed to create this cup and group those together before I can start moving it around. So one way to do that is you can look at the last item that stitches out to make the cup and select that in Color Film, which is the snowflake, and then use your left hand to select the Shift key, and then scroll up through Color Film until you've got all the items that make up the cup, and they'll all be highlighted. Then you let go of the Shift key and then select the right click on your mouse and then select Group, and now you'll be able to move that coffee cup out of the way. So we're going to do the same thing with the TV. Let's see. Let's grab, I think there's one more thing in the coffee cup that I left behind. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to select the coffee cup and scroll back up here. I think there's one more thing. Nope, I might, I'm just going to push this over here. Let's try to group the TV and see what happens. So this is the snow on the TV, and it's the last item that stitches out on the TV. So if I scroll all the way up here, and then this is the antenna, so I can see that I think I've grouped everything together based on these little boxes, these black boxes here, and I'm going to right click and select Group, and then I should be able to start moving the TV around. Okay, I was able to do that. And then the final thing I'm going to do is select the text, and so they have 2 steps for their texts in this project, 2 different fonts and 2 different colors. Let's just say we like the formatting and we want to keep it together, but we want to move it to a different area on the mug rug. We hold down the Shift key and select both of the text elements, right click and group, and now all of a sudden, oops, so sorry, I grabbed the wrong thing. All of a sudden everything is grouped together, and then we can start rearranging. So the way you can grab things, you can either grab it with your cursor, but as you could see, sometimes you could accidentally grab the wrong thing. If you're worried about doing that, you can grab those items from the color film. Let's say I want to grab the cup. I can grab it in color film, or I can grab it right on the screen. And that makes it easy to move around. So let's just say I'm just wanting to play around with how these items are arranged on the mug rug. And maybe I think, yeah, I think that's a better design, or maybe I want it to fit all inside this square, and then I want this square down here where there's another piece of fabric to just be plain, so I can add some lettering or put somebody's name in there, or put Merry Christmas plus the year, like 2021. You can just start rearranging, and that is the most basic form of editing. And you can finish up your mug rug and complete it and save it as a new mug rug. Or there's some other things you can do. What I try to do every time I get a mug rug is I try to deconstruct all of the elements and save them all as separate files. So the way to do that is to, I'm going to move everything off the screen. And then I'm going to hide, let's see, what can I do? Let's say I want to save the tea, let's say I want to save the mug. So I'm going to do something to make it a little easier for you to kind of follow along, but this is not the step you want to do. Just sort of keep that in mind. I'm going to click that and I'm going to right click inside color film, and I'm going to say hide others. Okay, so let's just pretend I deleted everything except the coffee mug. So now what I can do is save the coffee mug as its own file, and then I could do the same thing with the TV, and same thing with the text, and the same thing with the mug rug construction steps. And in that way, they're all separate elements that I can use in other projects. And you can see over here on this tab that that is exactly what I did with this little coffee cup. I saved it as its own file, gave it its own file name, and whenever I want to use that, I can now insert it into any other project file that I want. And the way to do that is to go to this embroidery insert, and then I can pick that coffee cup file from my embroidery files right here in my file directory. So that's just a quick way to show you how you can deconstruct a design file and use the elements within that file in other projects. The way I did that was so once everything else was deleted except the cup, I selected the hoop, and I decided that I wanted to keep it in the 4x4 hoop, and I selected the automatic centering, and that makes sure that when you open the design, the coffee cup is centered within the hoop, and you press OK, and then it's done. Then you go File, Save As, and then you would give it a name. In my case, I gave it Test 1. Then you say Save, and in this case, I'm going to cancel out. And then from here on out, you can use this cup as its own design file and use embroidery insert and insert it into any other project. So let's just say I had this embroidery mug rug, and I wanted to insert that cup in here. I could do that by going to embroidery insert and choosing that cup and saying OK, and then it will go right into another project file. So you can deconstruct all of these elements, save them as separate files, and then use them in other projects. So that is one thing that you can do. I'm going to unhide all so that you can see everything back on the screen again. And so the other thing you can do, which is the third thing you can do here, if you've saved all of your design elements as separate files, and let's say you're ready to delete these items, I'm not going to do that here, but let's just pretend for the sake of this tutorial that we've deleted the TV and saved it as another file, and everything outside the mug rug has been deleted. Let's just say we're going to build a new mug rug. So it's as simple as using this embroidery insert icon and picking anything in your embroidery files that you have to work with, and you can preview it here in this little preview screen. Just select open, say OK, and then it'll go right into the project. In this instance, this little design came grouped, so it's super easy to grab and move around. I didn't have to group all the design elements before I could start working with it. And then because I need to change the orientation, there's two little orientation handles here where you can turn it left or right 45 degrees, and you can just keep turning it until it's in the right orientation. So in my case, I like to have it right here. And then let's say you want to put something else inside. There's two ways to do it, the way that I just showed with this embroidery insert, or you can go to File, Insert, Insert Embroidery. It's the same thing. This icon here is just a shortcut. And then I can pick another embroidery element that I like. Let's say I wanted to do that one. And I can say OK. And then I can start, because that came grouped, I can start moving it around right away. So that is basically it. You just keep adding and adding until you have everything the way you like. And then if you want to check to see if your design was put together before you stitch it out, there's a little drop down menu here, and you can select the stitch player, and everything in color film will now stitch out on your screen in the order in which you have it in the color film toolbox. I think they call this a toolbox. And every thread color that is being stitched out is displayed up here. And this little bar can change the speed at which it stitches out. So I need to press stop, and that will exit out of the stitch player. And let's just say, oh gosh, when I watched it stitch out, I noticed there was something wrong here. What happened to my final box to attach the envelope backing? That is not at the end of my stitch out. Uh-oh. So let me see where that went inside color film. It's like, oops, how did it get there? I'm not quite sure. I was super busy designing. Let me make sure this is at the end. So here is a little down arrow where you can select it and select the box that you want to go to the end. And if you select this, it'll move it all the way down to the end. Now you have your envelope backing step, and you can be assured that when you stitch out your embroidery design, everything is in the right order. And so in order to complete this, we have to save it as an EXP file. All the way up until now, I've been using the ART file. So the embroidery software can read the art file, but the software, you're designing in the software using the ART file, but then when you want to have your machine read it out, if you own a Bernina machine, you need to save it as an EXP file, and that's a super simple step. I'm going to do that on another project just for demonstration purposes. You literally just choose file and then write to card machine. I think card is in there because there are some legacy machines that still write to a card. I don't have one of those, so but it'll still save to a USB stick this way. So depending on what machine you own, you're going to choose EXP or Deco, and I don't know what this is, to be honest, and I'm not quite sure what this is, but I think each of these four icons, one of the four has to be selected depending on what machine you have, and so it's up to you to kind of figure out what file, which of these icons you need to save the file so that it can be read by your machine. So I have an old machine that is a legacy machine that's been discontinued and that is no longer in production. But Bernina, because Bernina manufactured that machine, they're honoring your ownership of that machine, and they're basically saying, we are going to forever support our legacy machines through our software. And that is something that the other software companies may not do. I took a 30-day trial of the Hatch Wilcom embroidery software, and I was getting into trouble with one of the files. And I sent it over to customer support, and what they said was that your machine has been discontinued, and we just did a major update of our embroidery software, and so our software is no longer compatible with your machine. And so only Bernina will ensure that their embroidery software will allow you to keep designing for your older discontinued legacy machines. So that's where I got super interested in wanting to test out this software. So for me, in my case, I have to choose Deco, and it just saved it as an EXP file right onto the thumb drive that was connected, the USB device that is connected right to my USB drive. And so if I want to take that EXP file from my thumb drive and put it onto a hard drive, then I would just open up the USB and grab that file and copy it and paste it into a section on my hard drive in my computer. And that's it. Then you're done, and you're able to take your USB drive, take it to your computer, take it to your embroidery machine and have it stitch out and do a test stitch. And if all goes well, then you can make your project using the nice fabrics that you wanted to use. So that is everything. I hope that this helps people understand that you can do a lot without having to spend a lot of time learning everything. You don't have to learn how to use every single tool and understand every single icon in here before you can start editing files. If you can learn, so it took me about 30 days to teach you everything I just taught you. So if I can condense all of that down into 1 hour, then imagine what you can do if you can master these basics in a day rather than needing 30 days like I did. Then you can spend the next 29 days remaining of your 30-day trial doing a deep dive into some of these other tools, like some of the digitizing tools in here, and the lettering, the applique, the multi-hooping. Right now I am working on something. Let's see if I can bring this up for you. I was working on a embroidery file for the background quilting for this new Candy Cane Lane project, and that took me a whole day to figure out, but I don't feel confident to do a tutorial until I test it out on my machine. So I might be able to do that later on. I'm not quite sure. So anyways, my thoughts on the software are that I think it's fantastic. I know that the Wilcom Hatch people developed this for Bernina. I've used the Wilcom Hatch software and I find it to be fairly close. And I think that compared to version 8, version 9 is much easier to use, and on the usability side, I think Bernina did a fantastic job. As a digitizer, I don't think I'm qualified to speak to that because I really don't know how to digitize yet. I didn't think that the 30 days gave me the time I needed to really get into that, but if that was really where my passion was, I probably would have used my trial period to focus exclusively on that, and I might have learned a lot more. So for me, I just wanted to learn how to do basic editing so I could merge files, and that's where I wanted to focus my efforts, and so that's what I ended up doing. So everybody is different. Maybe other people will want to focus a lot on multi-hooping or other tools. I felt like I could master a couple of these tools in the trial period, but I didn't think I could master all of these tools in the trial period. So anyways, I hope that I've given you some basics and that it will allow you to get up and running quickly and that you can enjoy merging files while sampling this software. And Bernina is offering this fabulous 30-day free trial opportunity where you can download it onto your software and just play around with it, take it for a test drive, see if you like it, have fun with your Kimberbell files. And any file that you create while you use the trial, there's no restrictions on using those files. You are able to use them indefinitely. So there's no lock that they put on the project files that you created during the trial period. They're all yours. So I have a lot of positive things to say about Bernina. This got me a lot more excited about doing embroidery because it gives you the feeling of being in the driver's seat. It makes you feel like you're in control of the design process instead of just following someone else's design and kind of going through the motions of stitching it out. I feel like a lot more of the fun comes from the design side, and to me that's what I get a lot more excited about. So I feel like I'm more in control of how the final look of my project is going to be, customizing it, personalizing it. That's what this software is all about. So I hope that I've given you some ideas and suggestions and inspiration, and if you have any questions, if I can answer them, I would love to. Otherwise, I would just want to point you in the direction of the Bernina YouTube channel. They've got a lot of training videos for the version 8. Unfortunately, the version 9 doesn't have a lot of training yet, but I know that's up and coming. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I don't know if I'm going to post another one of these videos, but until next time, I just hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you on the next video. And I'm going to have to bow out here, and you're going to have to see this ugly software. But I'll stop recording now, and I'll catch you guys on the next time. Bye for now.